Hello and welcome to another episode of the Christian Reeve podcast. Today's episode is actually very special because it marks the 30th installment of the Christian Reeve podcast. And for those video viewers, you can see that we have Dutch Dills on the podcast again for, I believe, the third time now, returning guest.
Yeah, third.
Always welcome back on the show. So thanks for coming back on the show. We're going to do something a little bit different today. Obviously, normally you guys know that I interview my guests, and obviously if they're returning guests, we have a bit of a chat. That's still going to happen. But this past week, I did actually put out a very unsuccessful little campaign asking if there was any questions that people wanted to ask me. We thought we would flip it up and have someone interview me for a change instead of me interviewing someone else. So Dutch Dills has actually written a bunch of questions to ask me, and yeah, you can see the list there. I was not expecting that, I'll be honest, but it really sucks whenever, this isn't a complaint, I'm just saying how it is, right? Whenever I put these little social media things out and I'm like, hey guys, what do you think of the podcast? Or hey guys, ask me some questions for this upcoming thing. Literally no one responds.
It hurts.
Ever. Oh, it's painful. I was like, not even one question? There's nothing anyone wants to know?
But the worst thing is if you look at your insights to see how many people's actually come across it on Twitter, it's like 600 or something, but not a single person has even looked at it.
Well, see, that I don't mind so much. I mean, if it's just, because obviously with the hashtags, it means it's open to a wider audience. So I don't expect strangers to care, but I do expect, I don't know, family, friends, maybe other online people I know. Because there's people that I'm good friends with that I'm like, why didn't you ask me a question? You know that this is important, but whatever.
I was kind of sad by the fact that nobody replied, so I was going to, but then again, I just decided to write up a full page of questions.
Yeah, before we get into talking about me, because I don't like really doing that, to be honest. How are you doing, man?
I'm not too bad. I've fully started school now.
Oh, right, yeah.
I started 3 weeks ago on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Two or 3 weeks on Wednesday. And it's 30 minutes away by car or bus.
30. Wow, okay. It's not too bad.
Far away.
30 minutes is nothing, man. I've gone way longer to places before. 30 minutes is chill.
But school, so if you're late, you are late.
Yeah.
If I miss the bus, I have to wait 15 minutes for the next one, which turns a normal half an hour journey into a 45-minute journey.
Right. So you're in the Netherlands, and obviously things are different country by country. So what do the classrooms kind of look like at this point? And what I mean by that question is, is it compact, or, have you got a lot of people in a classroom, or is there social distancing?
I think there's about 18 or 19 people in my class. No, 16. There's 16 people, I remember. The students don't have to socially distance from each other, but if they want to, they can just sort of keep a wide berth from people. But students and teachers have to stay 1.5 meters away from someone.
But the standard classroom, are you going in there and there's a big bunch of people, or is there one seat free, like that? Or
No, it's like a normal classroom. A lot of the classrooms have the same layout in the sense that it's like a big U, of the tables, and then a block of 4 seats in the middle.
Oh, interesting. Okay, all right.
And if the teacher wants to help, they have to put on a face shield.
So does everyone carry hand sanitizer, or is that actively available everywhere and stuff?
Yeah, when you come in the class, you tend to you have to put hand sanitizer on before you go and sit down. So eventually the room just smells of hand sanitizer.
When you're walking into school, well, I suppose it's college, isn't it? It's not school, because you finished school, so this is college now, isn't it?
This isn't like my college where I actually go and learn things. This is just a school to go and learn the Dutch language.
Sorry, yeah, you did say, I remember. Yeah. How is that going, by the way?
Gaat goed.
Okay. Yeah, your pronunciation is good, I must say.
Ik ben goed met Nederlands, maar schrijven en luisteren en ook lezen. Lezen is niet zo goed, maar spreken is goed.
Your pronunciation is very good. I think because I remember last time we were talking about this, and you kind of said, like, you know, you've been visiting the Netherlands for many years, so you've basically been learning the language for many years. So I think like that factors in very highly. And like you said last time, you know, like you're probably not going to be in this class for very long because you've got a certain comprehension.
I think it's just reading and writing that I need, because I'm pretty good at listening to people, but I have to they have to speak slower, and I have to sort of give them this look.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I had the same problem in Estonia. Like, if people spoke at a reasonable pace, sometimes I could understand every single word. It was really weird. Like, because do you have this thing where, like, you won't necessarily like translate in your head, but you just know what they're saying. You know what they mean.
Yeah. Sometimes when my dad's boss speaks German, I can sort of use some of the Dutch words to sort of just go and flip it into German, and then I'm like, oh, okay. But I can't say anything back because I don't know German.
Yeah, there are similarities. I must say, when you speak the language, because I learned German at school and stuff. So like when I hear Dutch, it sounds like a mixture of German and English, and then something I can't quite put my finger on. But there's other languages that are like that. I think Danish is kind of like that as well. Like very
like the Belgian Flemish, because that's a mixture of Dutch and French.
Yeah. When it's an amalgamation.
My teacher's Belgian, actually.
Oh, cool.
Well, her family is. She was born in the Netherlands, but her family, yeah, her name is Mevrouw Tielemans, and Tielemans is a typical Belgian name.
Cool. What are some?
She should just make me a waffle.
What are standards? What are standard like Dutch names, like everyday names for Dutch people?
Oh yeah, you get a lot of Pieter. And I'm trying to think of Bas. Arnie.
Bas Arnie.
No, but I mean, in terms of, I don't know about first names, because actually you get a lot of Brigitte. Brigitte.
Oh, Brigitte. Yeah. Isn't that a French name? Brigitte or Brigitte?
I don't know. But like Bridget, it's like
Bridget.
You get a lot of Brigitte. There's a lot of Roger, like Roger.
Roger. Oh wow. Okay. Interesting.
Like but one of my friends is called Roj. Rosj. Roj. But in terms of last names, I'd say the most popular one that I've seen about is Janssen.
Yeah. Oh man. All right, let's bring it back to COVID for a second. I just want to ask what it's like in the Netherlands, because I don't know if you've been keeping up in the UK, but it's a bit fucking stupid at the moment.
Aren't they bringing back that no more than 6 people thing?
Yeah, they've brought it back, but here's the issue with that, right? Is that schools, first of all. Schools are open. You have classes full of like 30 or more kids, so that immediately trumps over your rule of not having more than 6 people in one particular area. So secondly, they've got this thing where they call it eat out to help out, which, just on a side note, I think is hilarious as a tagline. That's a bit
that's not really PG.
Maybe it's my dirty mind, but the first time I heard that I was like, that's hilarious. But in all seriousness though, it seemed like a cool concept, like, you know, get
I can just call my girlfriend over now. I can call my girlfriend over.
Hey, listen, the government recommends it. We're helping the economy, guys. We're helping society. Okay.
I mean, it is just another reason to stay at home. I mean, yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, though, it helps local businesses, and it's designed as a concept to help society, right? I get it, right? But instead of blaming it on, or I did this in a video basically recently. I said, look, instead of looking at things like, the fact that, we've got this scheme which basically encourages people to actively spend time in closed areas where lots of people are being, potentially catching the virus or being surrounded by it, right? That's number one. Number two, you're actively encouraging people to do that. You're encouraging people to, instead of isolate or stay away from people, you're encouraging people to go out there and mingle with other people. So you're strengthening the chances of catching the virus or spreading it. And then there's all these other things like movie theaters opening and stuff. And don't get me wrong, where I sit on this is that I think all of these things can be done and done in a sensible way, but I don't think it's fair. Like, the government has basically said, oh, it's the fault of all young people that we've had to go back into, and regress back into this sort of secondary lockdown situation. It's because they're going out and fraternizing in big groups, and that's the reason. And it's like, I'm not completely disagreeing. I've seen some of that in Manchester. I've seen that in London. I've seen that in all sorts of places. So it does happen. But to completely pin it on young people is just BS. Like, it's not... Do you know what I mean? Especially, like, schools opening is a government initiative. They pushed that. They said, we want schools to be open again. We want, kids to be in these classrooms. Do you know that? It's just stupid. I don't know. I just think it's illogical, personally.
Well, you're blaming kids for being kids. I mean, obviously kids want to go out and they want to have fun and they want to, go down to the town and hang around with each other. But the fact that we can't do... That's weird. We're the only generation that this has happened to. I don't think there's been any other... I mean, not unless we're talking about the Black Plague. But... This is the first time a global pandemic has ruined part of our childhoods.
See, the thing is as well, I think people, because I said this to my mum actually on the phone just before we started the podcast, that, more people would take this lockdown seriously if the rules didn't contradict each other. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if you say one thing and then you're doing another, then people look at that. Even young people are smart. They're not idiots. They're going to look at that like, well, I can do whatever the fuck I want then because, your rules are bullshit and they don't make any sense. Do you know, if you have like a blanket rule where it's like, okay, you just can't go anywhere. I know it's extreme, but like, you just can't leave, right? Then everyone understands that. And if everyone's following it, then it's probably going to be okay and you're going to have minor problems. But the fact that they've had all these different contradictory rules, like, okay, they said like, oh, you have to wear masks whenever you go into stores now, but then they were talking about people traveling on public transport don't have to wear masks, and it's like, well, what's the point of wearing a mask in one medium or area but then not wearing it in another where people mix? It's ludicrous. And that's, I feel, the story, at least in the UK, of the government's response and failure. It's not so much necessarily about them acting too late or putting measures in place. It's the fact that they put contradictory measures in place all the time that just leaves the whole public thinking, well, what the fuck? Like, I guess I just got to look out for myself and use my brain and be sensible with this. But ultimately, I don't know what the situation is. But the tricky part of it is that, now they're introducing things like fines and stuff. So if you're in a group of more than 6 people, you apparently get fined like £100 or something. And I know this in the beginning was a thing that happened, or that at least that they spoke about. I don't think it was actually, I didn't hear about any instances where it was actually, enacted on. But it's something that is obviously designed to scare people and stop people from doing that. But the reality, what you see, is very different from what the government says. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I go into Manchester city centre, not many people are wearing a mask. It just feels like any other day of the year, like it's as though there's not even a pandemic going on. And I'm not trying to shit on people here. I'm just saying that, like, that's how people are reacting to it. And I think that you would see everyone wearing a mask in places like Manchester and London if the rules were actually logical and didn't contradict each other and just were watertight, so to speak.
Yeah. But my biggest problem with it is, I mean, okay, fair enough. You have to wear a mask on public transport over here, at least. Over here and in Germany, you have to wear a mask on public transport. You have to wear a mask in a store. You have to wear a mask if you're sort of at risk. Well, either that or you just don't go out. But the thing is I saw on the bus, do you know, they have those screens that sort of tell you the stops that are coming up and also give you some sort of news. It said, let up, which is like, watch out. Not wearing your mask in Germany can give you a fine of like 150 euros or something. Because the Limburg liner, the bus that I get, it goes from Maastricht, which is the city that I go to school in.
Yeah.
To Aachen, which goes into Germany.
Oh wow.
So if the bus cuts into Germany, they have to tell you, yeah, you can't get a fine in the Netherlands for not wearing a mask, but if you're in Germany and you're not wearing a mask, you could get a fine. I think you have to wear a mask on public transport regardless, but I think it's more strict in Germany than it is in the Netherlands.
They're strict about everything. I was having a chat with some guys in my house
except speeding tickets. Except speeding tickets.
Yeah, I mean, they have the fucking Autobahn where you can go up to like 200 miles an hour, so that doesn't surprise me. If you like driving, Germany likes you.
Yeah, but they're strict about everything except because like they're the country that I know with the least expensive speeding tickets. So if we get a speeding ticket, we have to pray it's in Germany.
Yeah.
If it's in the Netherlands, England, Belgium, we're screwed.
Germany's like this with everything. Like one of my fat mates, who's from Romania, told me that apparently for things like torrenting, you can get a fine, even to this day, of up to like 20,000 euros. Can you believe that? Because I thought, a couple of hundred, okay, that's kind of annoying, but it's not that bad. But 20,000, that's insane.
What would you even have to be doing to not get arrested, but to be doing something so serious that you get £20,000?
Well, he was saying that it was to do with distribution. So what happened was this person that he knew that got this, right? He actually got like something from like Warner Media or the film owners, and then so he had to basically contest it, appeal it, and he won, obviously, because he wasn't trying to distribute it. And then it lessened, but I think it was still something like 5K, which is ridiculous. But I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, these days, you know, I know certain countries, they don't give a shit. Like in Estonia, I remember asking people like, oh, is it bad to torrent? And people would just laugh at me like, no one cares. Like,
piracy is shit. Everybody pirates stuff. Yeah. Everybody's pirated something in the past. I remember my grandpa used to burn CDs to get movies for me, and I'd watch a cinema recorded copy of friggin' Over the Hedge or something.
I never realized this actually, but yeah, I must have broken the law quite a lot when I was a teen, because burning CDs was very common back when I was your age, when I was a teenager. So like, we didn't have streaming websites. We only had like, I think iTunes and Apple Music, that kind of shit. But basically, like, if we wanted, okay, so this was like, I think either just before the iPod or around that time, but they were really expensive, so not everyone had them. So you had like, your choice was carry around a CD player, or we called it a Walkman, or have or an MP3 player. Yeah, and you'd have an MP3 player where you'd basically have a very limited, maybe you could have like 100 songs on there, so you'd have to choose very carefully what you'd want on there, and you'd always like constantly change the songs that you have on there, right? So it was a lot of hassle and effort, but it was kind of cool because it meant that, you know, you had this small thing you could carry around. Like eventually I got iPod Classic, and that was, still to this day, it's the only Apple product that I'll say is.
I had one of those.
Yeah,
I had one of those. I'm not sure if it was like an iPod Classic, but it was like a very small like iPod, and you had to spin the thing, and it was green. It was a green iPod, and you had to like if you wanted to go down your list of songs, you had to like go clockwise on this little like
sounds
sensory...
like an iPod Nano, I think. That rings a bell. Possibly.
Like you have to, like if I wanted to go down a list, you had to like do this sort of motion, the clockwise motion.
Just going back, like before all of that stuff, when it was just the CDs situation, I would like burn stuff to CDs, just like, you know, generations before had like burnt stuff to tapes. You know, it was the same thing. It took forever, but I did it, and I was terrible at this as well. So like, I'm better now. Like if you ask me like, oh, make me a CD or a playlist of like dance tracks, I could easily do that and it will flow nicely, right? But back then I had no idea of that. I just put my favorite songs on there. So it'd be like, Bring Me the Horizon, and then it'd be like, I don't know, Linkin Park, and then Metallica, and then a Slipknot song, and then like Cannibal Corpse, and then a bunch of metalcore bands, and then maybe like some pop song. It was like all over the shop. But it was like my only way of having like some resemblance of what we have now, where you can just shuffle. Like I wish we'd had back then what we have now, because it was that stuff like that I don't miss at all. It was a pain.
One of my pet peeves is Spotify.
Why?
Okay, fair enough, you have adverts on the free version. But why can you only skip 6 times? I never listen to a playlist straight through. I always skip a couple of times to find a song I want to listen to at that precise moment. And then fair enough, people could just say, yeah, but you should just make a playlist that you like all of the songs in. Yeah, I do, but there's a song for every kind of time.
I agree with you. And this is why I have like so many playlists for like different genres, different vibes, moods, decades, like you name it, right? But I just have premium, and I often do the thing, because Spotify, I'll say this much, they're very good in terms of you just want to deactivate and reactivate your account. Like people do it all the time and they accommodate that, so it's quite useful in that sense. It's only like, I think either $9.99 a month, sometimes it's less, but it's like, it's okay. And I think that, you know, you get the skippable thing, no adverts, so that's useful and not annoying. But also you got this option of like getting to download the music. So you can download the music, say like a playlist, to your phone, and then listen to it offline without fucking hell, I sound like an advert for this shit.
Yeah, but the thing is I have enough data so that I'm never really offline, unless I need to catch a flight or somewhere or go on the ship, and then that is useful. But
yeah,
I wish you could I wish there was like a selector of the premium features that you want. For example, the default bundle, $9.99, you get unlimited skips, you can listen offline, and I don't know. I think that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
That's all I wanted, to be honest. I don't really care.
But if you wanted to take away the offline ability, then that would go from $9.99 to $4.99, and then I would go, oh, great, because then I can just listen to, I can skip as much as I want, but I don't really need to be offline, so I can just have one feature and it's cheaper.
I agree with you. Tiered systems are good. Like on a side note, WWE, the wrestling company, is talking about doing that, because at the moment they have like a blanket like $9.99 deal, but they're talking about having a tiered system where you would have like, $2.99 gets you certain access to certain things, $5.99 has this, you know. It's a sensible thing, because not everyone can afford, you know, the top thing, and not everyone wants to have the top thing. Sometimes
it's like,
you know,
Patreon. It's like Patreon.
Precisely, yeah, perks and shit. Yeah.
Because, for example, I think like 4 or 5 months ago, I chose to donate to Modest Pelican. He's just a gamer, makes gaming videos. But I got the one where he would follow me on Twitter and we could have conversations. But the one above that was to get a free mug. But I was like, no, I don't really need a mug. But tiered systems aren't really flawed at all, because you can choose exactly what you want, how long you want it, and how much you want to pay. I don't really see any flaws in that. It's a good idea.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, obviously, everything needs adverts. So, I mean, I know why they have adverts on the free version, because they need to make money. But I mean, if you pay, then you've kind of given them your money. So they're like, okay, fine, no ads for
I
you.
gotta
You can
say though, like I can't stand that advert shit. That drives me nuts. Like I'd rather
they
pay the money and just skip and do whatever the hell I want. I love Spotify personally. I think it's great.
sometimes when I run out of skips and there's like nothing in the playlist that are playing anything good, I just go on SoundCloud and just listen to whatever on there.
There is one way to get around it with Spotify. If that happens, I think you can like go to a new playlist and it'll let you skip a little bit before it starts doing that band thing again. Where I don't know. I used to be able to do that.
Because
But
sometimes, because I put one playlist on, I'm like, no, I don't really like that, and then I don't have any skips, so I go to a different playlist. That's not good either. Nope, no. All right, I'm just gonna go to SoundCloud or YouTube or something.
What do you think about YouTube Music? Because obviously, or YouTube Premium? Because I don't know much about it, but what I know is it gets you access to those like premium content that's only available on certain platforms. And also I suppose the biggest thing is that you can listen to YouTube, any video, whatever, without the app closing, which is kind of a deal breaker.
Oh, so yeah, so you can sort of lock your phone and listen.
Yeah. Because I thought about it, and then I saw how much it was, and I was like, nah, it's not fucking worth it. But they've been trying to justify. I suppose they've been trying to do the whole Netflix originals concept of making their own content. But everything I've seen, right, they'll release like, you know, a series for free. So you can see like one series. I think like the Sidemen did it, for instance. They had like the Sidemen show, and you can see. I think you still can see like the first episode or the first season, and then you got to pay premium to see the rest, right? But like even the Sidemen kind of said like, yeah, you know, it's all right, but it's not really like us. And like I looked at the way it was filmed and what they were doing, and like it looks like fun, but I agree. Like I think that their Sidemen Sundays are like miles better, and there's way less production quality going into it. You know, you don't have all the like celebrities and shit, but like the concept is good and the content is good, and I think that's the key. Like for instance, David Blaine right now has some series on premium, and
Yeah, I saw that when I was opening YouTube before.
like I don't want to shit on it because I haven't seen it, but at the same time, like nothing about it draws me in. I don't see anything groundbreaking, but I see it plastered everywhere all over my YouTube, right? Because obviously it's being advertised. But I just haven't seen or heard anyone talk about anything positive about premium. It's not to say that like I've heard people shitting on it either, but I haven't really heard anyone go like, "Oh yeah, you got to get premium. Like it's so good," you know. Whereas you hear that with Netflix, you hear people saying like, "Oh yeah, you know, Stranger Things was so good," or "Oh yeah,
Did you see that episode of BoJack? Oh yeah, that was a good one. Yeah. But yeah, YouTube Premium, no thanks. I mean, if by chance, like YouTube works out for me, and in 5 years or something, I have 2 million subscribers and money that I can swim in like Mr. Scrooge, then sure, why not? But
I'd like to discover it. I'd like to just find out what's available, but
well,
I don't think I would keep it.
I don't see why not. But at the same time, like you said, not really worth the money. You don't get that many perks. I mean, okay, you can close your phone when watching a video, but what's the point in watching the video?
Yeah.
And YouTube, and as far as YouTube Music goes, I have Spotify, SoundCloud, and Mixer. So again, no, not for me.
not
So
for me,
should we start with the questions, sir?
Yeah, go on. Let's get the questions out of the way. Let's do this.
All right. So
I'm being interviewed for once on my own podcast. How
you're
about
being
that?
interviewed. How about them apples? All right. So the very first question, of course, how are you? How are you today?
How am I? I'll be honest with you. I'm nursing a bit of a hangover, but I feel good. I feel very good right now. Because I actually smoked weed for the first time in many years, and basically we were having like a welcoming for 2 new housemates that we have for like a month, and you know, we just wanted to greet them, have beers, chat, just say hello, right?
And then you ended up smoking some hookah.
Well, they had some stuff, and I was like, ooh. And normally I'd just be like, nah, but I was in a good mood, not too drunk.
Try something new.
Well, it's not new. I mean, I did drugs a lot back in the day, so it's more like
get out of the 90s, Chris.
It's a bit. Oi, I was a kid. I was a kid in the 90s. How old do you think I am? Fucking hell, I'm not that old. I barely remember the 90s. I remember like I can remember going to school in the 90s. I remember television, watching certain programs, like it's weird stuff I remember. Like I can remember coming home from school when I was like 6 or 7 years old, turning on the TV, and it would be like there's this crappy Australian program called Neighbours, right? And I don't know why it's popular. It's like a soap in Australia, but it had a huge appeal in the UK for many years. And so that would be on. And basically, it would come on about 3-4 p.m. And I would normally just have it on in the background waiting for like the good programs that are coming up. Because the lineup on BBC Two in the 90s and the early 2000s was fucking lit. It'd be... No, seriously, it was the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, always. And then I think it was like...
I've heard that's good.
It's excellent. It stands out, especially today, actually. The Simpsons, there'd always be a Simpsons episode. There was occasionally Robot Wars, if you remember that. That was good shit. You ever heard of Robot Wars?
Wait, is that the remote control robots that fight?
Yes. Yeah.
I know it.
Oh, it was so good. And it was really good in the beginning because Jeremy Clarkson used to present it, and he was brilliant. he would, so picture this, right? He's walking around being him, taking the piss, right? But like you got so many of these people, like they would do this pre-match, I guess you could call it, like interview thing, where they would walk around the warehouse where everyone's like working on their bots and shit, and they're like, I guess hyping up before the fight, like, we've got this extra piercer that we're going to destroy Razor with, like, because they had names for the bots.
Yeah.
Razor versus Scorpion or some shit like that. But it was good. Like,
Sunflower versus sausage sandwich.
Sometimes it was like that. Some of them were really out there and like had weird, but it was fun. I don't know. It was a lot of fun, and he would.
Oh yeah, this is my robot biscuit tin. I call him that because he's made out of a biscuit tin. My grandma is not very happy with me, so I need to win this fight so I can give her a biscuit tin back.
But it was really good.
Although I'll have to tell her to watch her fingers when she's going to get a biscuit, because
It was really good with Jeremy Clarkson when he would interview these guys, and it would often be like some 50-year-old bloke with his son or something, which was kind of sweet. But like he would just rip them out. He'd be like, so is he going to win? And he'd be like, and then he just rip apart the guy, and sort of be like, what are you doing? Like, what are you playing at? Like, it was almost like he wanted to say like, why are you wasting your time on this shit? But he, you know what I mean? It was that kind of like, but he did it in an entertaining way, and he, it was fun. And
like the sort of classic Jeremy Clarkson, what are you doing? No,
yeah.
No, don't be stupid, James.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah. I remember also they had these house robots that were quite interesting. They were like...
oh yeah, the ones that would come out if the fight was going on for too long.
So, yeah, they were like supposed to be like, I don't know. Okay, so if I remember correctly, some of them would just be in certain corners. So if you got too close to a particular corner, they would just like destroy you. But then they also had this thing where I think if you like one of them was like if you went into a particular area, like one of them had like a flamethrower on the top, so it like push you in there and set your bot on fire. And there were other ones. I think it was to do with like traps or other things. I can't really remember exactly, but they would be pulled out for specific reasons, and it was cool because all the different robots had different.
I'm gonna quickly look this up because this is actually really interesting. Okay, I wanna know. Oh yeah, Robot Wars House Robots.
I never thought I would be talking about Robot Wars on my podcast, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, well, that's what you get for inviting a 16-year-old.
I'm surprised you saw it though. I suppose the program has got a lot of longevity because I mean it started late 90s, early 2000s, and I believe it's still going on in other countries. I don't think it's going on in the UK anymore. But
The house robots were a set of robots on Robot Wars. Well, go figure. That acted as additional hazards for competitor robots in the arena. They would usually occupy one or more corner patrol zones and either attack competitors if they entered the CPZs or became immobilized, after which they were free to roam the arena. So if one competitor went into the corner and then the house robot killed it, he could then go back and go for the other one if he wants.
Yeah.
4 house robots debuted in season 1: Dead Metal, Matilda, Sergeant
Matilda.
Bash.
Yes, I remember Matilda. Matilda was the tiny one that looked really silly and like unassuming. And if you had a really big bot, you could actually take on. Like I sometimes saw the house bots would get destroyed by bigger bots, but rarely did that happen. Like it was only when you had like bots like Matilda would actually there would be some sort of a chance. Whereas there was, what was that one? Sir Killalot. Is that one?
So, yeah, these with more joining them as the original series progressed, these additions were Sir Killalot, Mr. Psycho, Growler, and Cassius Chrome.
I don't remember that, but I remember Sir Killalot because it was huge and it had like some.
He was added in season 2, Mr. Psycho season 6, Growler series 6, and Cassius Chrome was series 7.
Sir Killalot was the best one because it was huge and it had like a very. It was weird. Like most of these robots were really tiny.
I'm not sure if you can see that at all.
Yeah, I can see it. It's good, but it's like it has like a whole body and like it's huge. Whereas a lot of the bots were really tiny. He's
got like tank wheels and like a knight armor sort of base and a spire and loads of armor all over him.
But like your typical bot would generally be small, like a square shape or a circle, like very small. And bots like Sir Killalot could literally just ride over them. Like they were so small. But there were a few
tank tracks, man.
There were a few that were like really. I remember there was this one bot that for many years was like the champion. I think it was called Razor, and it was literally just a small kind of box with like a big, massive metal piercing tool, and it would basically clamp you, and then like force the there you go, you can see it. Yeah, it would clamp you and put the pincer into your body's.
When I was searching this up,
chassis.
When I was searching this up, one of the recommendations was Razor versus Sir Killalot. So I take it you went against Sir Killalot.
Wow, I got to see that, man.
That's got to take some balls to go up against one of the house robots that literally looks like a tank.
Well, like I said, sometimes they would do that. Sometimes, like you would have people do it for a laugh and see what happens, and sometimes they would beat the house bots. It was quite funny.
I think if Sir Killalot was to get destroyed, I think. What would you even do from that point?
You'd have to have a pretty powerful bot to make that happen. That's
would the game just stop with did you just kill Sir Killalot? I mean, yeah. Yeah, it was easy. Killed him.
But yeah, Robot was always good. There was also what else was there? There was a bunch of Star Trek. That was how I got into Star Trek. Star Trek: The Next Generation. They would do replays of that. Obviously, I became a much bigger fan as I got older, but it was fun to watch as a kid as well because it was just kind of weird and out there. But I swear that BBC Two lineup for many years. I mean, you had at least 4 hours of good programming there every week.
I think it switched to Nickelodeon because I think I remember that's what I watched Robot Wars on.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay, that's weird.
But I mean, it's like if there's a good day of television, because the problem is with now is most people just watch Netflix or YouTube because there's never anything good on TV.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's true now. I mean, occasionally there's Top Gear, and on Comedy Central there's South Park, Family Guy, Bob's Burgers, things like that. But other than that, I mean, they don't even play it in the same order. So if you're on season 2, they might be showing an episode from season 3 or something, and you're like, well, no.
Well, no, I mean, that's a bit unfair because normally they just start, like, okay, let's say like Friends, for instance. If they're doing a Friends rerun, they'll always start from the beginning. But the problem with that is that they will replay the same episode like 5 times a day before they get to the next one. But they normally go through it.
That's just to make sure you don't miss it.
Yeah,
like
but
if you're
it's
at work
reruns,
through the
isn't
day
it?
and then come home, I mean, you can watch it on Netflix. Just stop
Yeah.
messing about.
I
I
think
might.
there is this weird kind of thing with TV though that I've never been able to explain. It's like a movie almost feels like more special and more fun if it's on TV versus if you've just chosen it. Do you know what I mean? For some
Yeah,
reason,
because it doesn't take into account, like, if I want to watch a James Bond movie,
yeah.
because I remember one, I don't think it was Christmas, but I think I remember one summer they played the James Bond movies every Friday,
Hmm.
every
Okay.
Friday night from 10 till whatever time the movie finished,
Hmm.
and they just went through and went through, and watching them on TV with the ads
Yeah.
was better than if I put it on Netflix, because okay, there's a break. I'm gonna go to the toilet, get a drink, get some peanut M&Ms, and I'll be back. And then I sit back down, and then the closing part of the advert would come on, and the movie would start, and go, oh, great. Just
Yeah.
keep watching.
Why is that? Why is that interesting? Or sorry, not interesting. Why is that more preferable? Because when you really think about it, it's not. It's much more convenient to like pause it, and you still can. You can pause TV and shit, but
Yeah, but not having that like exact pausing ability. I mean, because I don't like pausing live television, because then it's not live television anymore. Because
okay,
that
fair.
I don't like pausing actual TV. It's weird.
I
But then
I
again,
like it. I like it on
I don't
standard
like.
programming. I don't like it on live, like a live sports event or something. I think that's defeats the point. But it's
Yeah,
useful. I mean, if you genuinely needed to like, and you didn't want to miss anything, then you've got that option now. Whereas you
yeah.
just
We set the MotoGP to record if we have to go out. So like if we'll watch up to a certain point, and then if I have to go out, we'll set to record from when we stopped watching it,
yeah.
or we'll just record the entire race. But yeah. Anyway, do you mind if I scoot into
Please,
the
please.
second? We're in the second category.
See, I like it because I don't have to do
Questions
the
now.
research for once.
I didn't either.
I mean, you did 25 minutes. That's. I wasn't expecting that. I thought we'd just have like a couple of questions and that would be it. I wasn't expecting a whole
Yeah,
segment.
no. I did my homework. Okay, so this is the backstory section.
Oh, I'm worried. Okay.
No. Not too deep.
Okay.
Phil Collins would be impressed. It's not in too deep. So in terms of city, where are you from?
London.
So you are from London and you live in Manchester.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was it like growing up there?
What was it like growing up in London? When I was a teenager, it was some of the best times of my life. I've said this many times before, but yeah, I loved growing up in London because, I didn't live exactly in London. I lived in a suburb in West London, or Northwest London, I should say, an area called Hillingdon. Very beloved to me even to this day. Like there are certain areas, shout out to Ruislip, Northwood Hills, those areas like near where my school were and stuff. There's really like beautiful nature around there. I just loved it. Anyway, I would often go to London, places like Camden, Trafalgar Square, Leicester Square, Camden Lock, a bunch of places. And this was at a time in the 2000s, like mid 2000s or whatever, where there was a big divide kind of between people that were into like mainstream stuff and then people that were into like rock and metal. Because these days, everyone's kind of into everything. So, I mean, you do get people that are like, I'm a goth or I'm this, I'm that. But like, most people just don't care. Whereas back then, there was more of a divide. Like if you went to Camden Town back then, it was like there wasn't any mainstream stuff there, or very little. It was very, you'd have like loads of market stalls with goth jeans or like grunge stuff, or I don't know. It was just a different time, different vibe, and I loved it. I had a lot of fun. I was into like, skateboarding. So I'd often go skateboarding around various places in London. Like there's this place called Bay 66, which is like a skate park underneath a bridge in Ladbroke Grove. and it's one of the best skate parks I've ever been to. It's like all wooden, like really nice. It's got a massive vert ramp at the back, which is a lot of fun to go into. It's like a professional one as well. And yeah, you know, I was a happy kind of go lucky teenager. You know, I was into music. I wrote music all the time, you know, with my bands that I was in and stuff. And I made the most of my teenage years. So growing up in London was kind of an ideal place for that, because it has a bit of everything. And I know a shit on London because, like, you know, I'm not a fan of living there, but that's because as I became an adult, it changed. So obviously when you're a teenager, you don't have responsibilities, you know.
London is expensive.
Yeah. And this is the thing. It got more and more and more expensive. So like, even when I was a teen, it was okay. It wasn't like super cheap, but it was like reasonable. Whereas these days, I mean, it's astronomical. And when we're talking about things like house prices or even just renting there, you know, travel is a big one. These things just put me off. And I worked there as an adult for many years, and I was just put off by it. There was nothing there that really allured me to it. There are beautiful parts of London and interesting architecture, and there's lots to do. But I feel like, and I have a lot of people that agree with me on this, that London is a great place to visit, but it's not a great place to live necessarily.
Yeah.
And like, if you want to have a good quality of life there, you need to be earning like a really highly paid salary to cover the costs of everything. Like, you can have a good life in London, but you need to like work your ass off to get it, if you know what I mean. And that's the tricky part. Like for me, it's not that I don't want to work hard, because I work hard with everything that I do, but I don't want to, like, you know, pay my full salary and have nothing left and not be able to eat or whatever, or do you know what I mean? Like, have very little every month, and because I want to have fun. I want to go out and do things, explore, have holidays, whatever. Like, I want to live life, have fun. You know what I mean? I don't want to just, what's the expression? Work to live. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to,
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
And I don't think that work necessarily has to be that like that either. You know, it does depend on the position, career that you go for, or whatever, you know.
Excuse me.
But, how dare you?
Oh, I am sorry.
Yawn when I'm speaking. It's me. No, I'm just kidding.
No hablo inglés.
No hablo.
Right,
I mean, London was cool to grow up in, but I think it has its. I think it suffers from big city syndrome, if that makes sense, because everyone that I speak to that talks about like living in Moscow or living in say New York, when they talk about it, it sounds exactly the same to my experiences in London. And I think that's just the nature of living in a big city. For some people, it's the greatest thing ever. And I get it. Like, if you grew up in a small town somewhere and, you know, there wasn't much going on, it can be very frustrating. So I understand why it's like really fun to live in a big city. For me, I like to have
the thing is the people who live in the center of like a place like Manhattan,
Yep.
Most of those people are like either judges, lawyers,
Yep.
or high-ranking government people.
Mm-hmm.
For example, a lawyer can go from one place in Manhattan where they work to their home, like 3, 4, 5 blocks away, go up into their massive friggin' 50th floor penthouse and just be chill, because they know that however much they make, their living space is only like, what, the 24th of what they earn?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like, generally when it comes to where you want to live at a particular time, I think it depends where you are at that point in life. You know, like, I grew up in London. Anyone that grows up anywhere, you know, you kind of get sick of the place that you were born in because you want to see something different. Do you know what I mean? So that's a big thing. And I always had this travel bug. I wanted to explore, see other cultures, all that stuff. And then, you know, I lived in places like Estonia, where it was very small by comparison. Like, I was able to see like the whole country within a couple of years. And Tallinn, the city, the main city, the capital, is very small. So not to say that it gets boring, but it's like there's a lot less going on, right?
I agree, because where I live in Vals, don't get me wrong, I love it. I love the people. I love the architecture. I love literally everything about it. There's a big supermarket in the middle. There's smaller shops sort of around the outside, and along the main road, hundreds of shops. I mean, not hundreds, but you know what I mean. It's a big main street. There's market days on Tuesday where all of the Germans, everybody from the towns close on the Dutch side, come into Vals to do their shopping. Yep. Fine, brilliant, lovely, wonderful. But I mean, there's barely any police here. The closest police station is halfway down the friggin' road. There's nothing. I mean, Vals is home to the Drielandenpunt, which is the highest point in Vals.
Cool.
So it's a very touristy place, which means you get a lot of Belgians, you get a lot of Germans, and obviously you've got a lot of Dutch people. But I want to travel as well.
Yeah.
But it's not hard to do that because the Netherlands is a pretty small place.
My advice to you, because this is what I've done, is to just experience as many different places and live in them as possible. Because like I've lived on like farms, for instance. I've lived in the back ass fucking nowhere, where nothing's going on. I've lived in places where like shit's going on all the time, you know, good places, bad places, everywhere. And what I would say is doing that helps you to understand what you need and when you need it, kind of thing. Like, so here's a quick example, right? When I was 18, I went on a holiday with an ex-girlfriend. Oh, I think I was 19, actually. Whatever. It was like a holiday getaway kind of thing. It was really sweet. And we went to a place called Devon, right? And if you haven't been to Devon, it's fantastic. Great
Custard.
sort of custard, of course, yeah. No, but they have really good quality things that are made freshly there, like things like ice cream and stuff. And it's by the sea. It's got all this amazing like history and culture and stuff. But if you're a young person, it's not good. It's you know, it's for old people, for people retiring, for people that want a getaway from city life or something. And I genuinely remember thinking, this is brilliant, but it's like wrong time. If I came back here when I was like 50 or 60, perfect. Right now, no, I want to do shit with my life. I want to go places, see the world. And I kind of remember thinking like, it's cool that I can think that way at that age, like appreciate it for what it is, but know that it's just something to return to, as opposed to like being like, oh, this sucks, you know. Because I think everyone in life, you go through waves. You're like, okay, I want to live in a big city for a while. Okay, now I want to travel for a while. Okay, now I want to focus on my career. So, you know, I'm going to live in the city and do this or whatever. Like for me, I'm in a position where I just wanted to go back to the UK. I missed the UK, but I didn't want to go to London for the reasons I explained before. And I also kind of thought about the fact that like, I want to live somewhere where stuff is going on, but I have access to like travel around and see culture and like rural stuff as well, countryside, stuff like that. I just kind of want to have a bit of both, you know, and I don't want it to be like too insane. Like Manchester is kind of ideal in that sense because it's a big city. It rivals London in many ways, but it's not like, it doesn't have the capacity that London has. And that's kind of a big draw for me. It's like, I want to be somewhere where stuff is going on, but I can also escape from things as well.
But
and
there's a lot of industries in Manchester as well, because
right, yeah.
There's the Salford Quays, which is actually now, I think there's a BBC centre there. I'm not sure.
BBC, ITV, all that stuff is based there. They filmed Coronation Street there as well.
Yeah, there's that. And then there's Manchester, where there's all of these offices and shops and things like that. But there's a lot of history behind Manchester, in the sense that the Salford Quays used to be where a lot of stuff came in from other countries. And that's the one thing I did listen to in geography, because Manchester is very interesting.
Manchester,
where I live,
place actually,
I could probably shake hands with the UK in the sense that I've been to enough places to sort of I've had my fill of England and Scotland and things like that. I've been to Edinburgh, I've been to York, I've been to Scarborough, I've been to Rye. I've been to places that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of it. It begins with an A, and it's like it's up a lot of like hills, so it's very high in the air. It's very high up above sea level, and it's like just a small town. It's just got like a hotel in it and some. Actually, I don't even think there's many shops. And then that's just sort of it. And then it just goes back down the hill to more hills. But yeah, I mean, where I live is very rural. Looking out my window, I can see a crap ton of trees, and I can see sheep and cows and a long country road and a farm and more stuff. And if I look out over that way, there's the sort of town, city, things like that. And then
cool.
Going that way would lead you towards into the Netherlands more, into Le Meers and Maastricht. Over that way leads you into Germany. That's about it. There's no cities really close by here. Closest would probably be Maastricht or Heerlen or Landgraaf, which is like 20 minutes away from me.
Yeah, I think it's everything has a time limit in terms of like how long a person should be in a place, but everyone is different. You know, I've met some people in life who are so perfectly content just staying in like, you know, their hometown, for instance. And I don't understand it personally, but I can appreciate it. You know what I mean? I think that you love what you love, and if you are happy, then just roll with it, innit? But like, I think it is good.
Roll with it, innit?
Well, yeah, but like I think it is important to experience other things, because if nothing else, even if you don't discover that, you know, there's something out there that's different for you, that's better by comparison, it at least makes you appreciate like what you do have back home, kind of thing. You know, like when I lived abroad, there was a lot that I missed about the UK, and so when I did return, it was a good feeling. Do you know what I mean? After all that time to kind of to have that stuff again. And I count myself very grateful that I've had that experience in another country, and, you know, that can never be taken away. And it's a really cool feeling.
But one thing, I will never work in Vals. Never.
Why? What's wrong?
I will never work in my hometown because it's so small that there's nothing really here to work. I mean, for example, I want to be an engineer or something to do with auto mechanics, so I'm going to try and find a job in Maastricht or Heerlen where it's 20-30 minutes away. So I actually travel to work rather than just getting in the car, driving 5 minutes down into town, and then just parking the car and going to work and then driving all the way back up the hill again. And then...
You come onto a good point, actually. I do think it's important that a person's work is... Because this is one of the things I want to do in my life as well. I want to travel, like I want to be based in the UK and have a home. That's kind of my dream, is to have like a home, a base, somewhere that I can be like, this is home, kind of thing. But then I spend all my time exploring the world, you know, I don't know, acting, music, whatever, wherever life takes me, kind of thing. And I want that contrast. I think it's very important because that makes you appreciate home more. Like if you do everything in your hometown, you can get sick of it. And like home shouldn't be that. Home should be like a sanctuary, something that you return to.
I'm happy that, I mean, I feel sorry for the people in my school who live in Maastricht as well as go to school there. But for me, when I get into Maastricht, I'm like, right, school. But when I get on the bus and I come back here into Vals, I'm like, gemeente Vals, Drielandenpunt, gemeente, I'm home.
Yeah, okay.
I just sort of went into Dunglish there. I just
Dunglish.
Dunglish, yeah.
That's the thing, Dunglish.
Yeah, it is. But I get into the bus station outside of it's called the Frittiboot. Just the
what? Sorry.
The Frittiboot. Because over here, fries or chips are frietjes.
Frietjes, okay.
Yeah, so it's called the Frittiboot, the fries shop.
Frittiboot.
So I get off the bus across the road. I get my bicycle and I sort of just ride. Well, it depends on if I want to get home fast or not. If I want to go home fast, I'll just go straight up.
Mm.
but I like to ride through the town a little bit and then turn right and then go up this nice sort of stony street and then go
It's weird, isn't
around.
it? It's kind of weird how everyone is different in that way. Because when I was your age, I was the same, and I always have been. I love to explore, love rural stuff. I think it's really important, right? But I remember when I was at school, basically, to get to school, I could walk to school, and I often did, right? But in the beginning, I would take the bus, right? And the bus took about half an hour, give or take. Pretty chilled. Do you know what I mean? But the actual walk from where I lived all the way up to the school was probably about an hour, maybe a bit more. And it was crazy. It involved literally walking from one town to another, then walking all the way up a hill, and then going down the hill, and then basically walking into a forest, which is kind of crazy because sometimes it would be like at winter, it'd be like really dark, you can't see anything, right? Walk through the forest.
Why?
Yeah, well, I was an idiot teenager and it was fun.
I would get tired.
Oh, it was great. It was good for exercise, and I liked it. It was so much better than having to wait around for the bus in the freezing cold or like.
But what about those times where you were at school and you could not be asked to go home? What did you do in that situation?
I never had that. Are you kidding me? You can't be asked to go home.
Because sometimes I'm standing outside of school when I leave and I'm like, I can't be asked to go home, but I can't be asked to stay here either.
I had experience. I had times when I wanted to like hang out and maybe like, I knew I had like loads of work to do or reason that I couldn't go. But like most days I would either hang out with friends after school or I would go skateboarding. I would go skateboarding pretty much every single day after school plus weekends.
Did you not skateboard to and from school or no?
Occasionally. We weren't really allowed to, but I would just do it anyway and get in trouble for it quite often.
The thing is though, the thing is though, that's not English. The problem, you can't take your bike on a bus over here because of Corona. I think normally, I wish buses over. That's why I love American buses, because you walk up to a bus, you put your bike on the front of the rack, you strap it in, you get on the bus, you pay for your ticket, you go, get off, take your bike, go. But what I'm thinking of doing, depending on how long I go to school, because obviously there's the school I have to go to after this one, which is actual college. I'm going to save up and get a scooter license and scoot to school.
Yeah, sounds sensible.
Because, I mean, the bus is cool and all, but if I can take myself to school... I
remember when I was at school, there was this like gang, right, that would hang out.
The London moped gangs.
It was a moped gang. It was a bunch of like guys that were either 16, 17, like out of school age, but weren't doing anything with their lives, right? They were, literally their life consisted of just driving around on a moped, hanging around outside the school. They don't go to the school and they're too old for school, but they're like the cool, I don't know, edgy kids or some shit. But they would literally just sit there trying to look hard. And I was like, I'm sorry, you can't look hard on a moped.
I mean, if you rocked up on a Harley Davidson,
yeah,
and then you just stop and you're just like, so.
Yeah, I can see that, but no, this does not strike fear. You don't go, what's up, man? No, that's not happening. No one's making. The only time a moped is cool is like classic, quadrophenia. Back in the day, like that was Vespers. When mopeds were cool. Vespers. Vespers. Sorry, yeah, that's because there's a variant of a moped. Is that right? Or
yeah, it was a make, but it was right. like a classic red Vespa.
Yeah, like those are cool, and they were cool. But like modern mopeds, I'm sorry, like just in general, they just look ugly. I don't understand the appeal. I mean, I get that they're...
Scooters are handy, and there's a lot of bicycles in the Netherlands. So if there's a lot of scooters as well, because scooters that are limited to 50 kilometers an hour, which is scooters that 16-year-olds can get.
Yeah.
they have to ride on bike paths.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And they have to ride on the side of the, because on the roads here, there's obviously the 2 lanes, and then there's a little red section on each side of the road for bicycles. It's called a fietspad, like a bike path.
That's not confusing at all. The fietspad.
The fietspad.
Yeah.
A bicycle is a fiets. A bicycle is a fiets.
Okay.
And a motorbike is a motorfiets.
Motorfiets.
So fiets is bike, and then motorbike. So yeah, and then if it can go over 50 miles an hour, like if it's a scooter with gears, then it can go on the road. But people normally don't. They just stick to the bike paths because they can go on the bike paths, but they're supposed to be on the road, but on the side of the road. I don't know. It's weird, but yeah, I'd love to scoot to school. I think it would be cool because I can just listen to my music. Just
love to scoot to school, mate.
I'd love to scoot to school, mate. I go to Maastricht.
Oh, Betty! Sorry, that's what I thought. Betty
the Vespa. No.
But for anyone that is out of the UK, they'll have no idea what the fuck we're talking about. I can't even remember the name of that program, but I remember Frank Spencer, I think his name was, wasn't it? Betty.
Something like that. Betty. Yeah, but I can't call my scooter Betty because I've already named my car Bessie. So...
You named your car Bessie?
Yeah, it's an old Toyota Corolla. It's called Bessie.
What has the Netherlands done to you?
I don't know. No, but I don't know. It's an old 1998 car. It needs a classic name. It's green. Bessie.
I don't know. I just can't ever. People normally name their car something cool like Jaguar, Mercedes,
Bessie.
It doesn't have the same. Bessie, the new ultra-reliant Ford car of the year. Bessie. No.
Meet the Toyota Corolla, otherwise known as Bessie, coming this month in cinemas near you. Coming this October.
This fall. This is my favorite one. From the makers of. Like that, just when he says that.
From the makers of the Avengers and others.
Other films.
J.D. Salinger presents Catcher on the Rye and other books.
Stuff. Presenting stuff. Well, imagine if it was like honest. So like they're talking about Twilight.
Directed by someone.
Imagine if it was just the guy saying his opinions. So like he sees that it's Twilight and he's like, presenting badly written fan fiction. Twilight.
Imagine him with a Top Gear movie though. Coming from the creators of Top Gear, obviously. Coming, Top Gear, the movie. Featuring Jeremy Annoying Clarkson, Hammond, the short person, and James May, the old bloke who people keep around because he's sarcastically funny.
You put it sound a bit like you're doing a Batman impression, like,
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
Robin, what are you doing, Robin?
It's so fun to do.
You killed my parents.
You killed my family. I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. You killed my family.
This would be a clip.
Morty.
Just this. I'm Batman for like a minute. I'm
Batman.
I apologize to anyone listening on like Spotify or Apple or whatever. You just hearing us just go Batman for 2 minutes. Batman.
Normally, I'm good with character impressions.
They're fun, aren't they?
I'm good with accents. I know that much. I'm really good with accents.
I've been experimenting a lot with them recently. I quite enjoy them. I like
someone asked me yesterday to do an Indian impression. I said no because I'll end up being racist or something. Ireland I can do, England and Scotland, I can do.
Potatoes. Buy the
I'm a
mash, stick them in a shoe.
I'm a potato farmer.
Potato farmer.
Potato farmer. My dad's a
I
potato
hear
farmer.
you're a racist now, father. That's my favorite.
One's the loud one.
Sorry. What's the church's opinion on racism then?
Oh, I didn't know about this. Racism thing you're talking about. Jesus Christ!
I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
I don't know what you're talking about. No idea.
I'm Scottish man. That's right.
I'm
too fucking right, lad.
Pretty much. And when people talk like as Germans, they talk like this every single time.
Mm.
And in the Netherlands, people talk like this. You know, we go to do this and we go to do that. I don't ask you questions. I just say we go to the park. What?
I know. I love this Ronnie Flex Lil Klein thing, even though it's like 5 years old. I just love their music. It's really good.
Is that song that you asked me to do? And I still
yeah. They've got some other good ones. They did a song called 1 2 3 as well, which is like the same song kind of, but like a different variant. It's cool. It's yeah.
Do you remember anything about the song that you practiced, or did you forget it all?
I can barely remember it. No.
I think you sent me a video on Twitter.
I sent you a clip. Yeah.
I've got it here if you want to be embarrassed.
Go on then.
Oh, okay. We're actually gonna do this. I don't know how we're gonna do this because it's gonna sound awful.
I just want to see it. I want to see if I can do it again. Let me see if I can hear it.
I gotta
like Inception.
I learned a little bit of that song that I wanted you to learn, but it gets way harder. This is just jokes. As it is for turning it problem ni come darling vanti get drunk intrus get drunk intrus
As it is for turning it problem
ni come darling vanti get drunk
intrus
intrus.
Yeah,
I remember it. As a bitch
drunken drugs.
As a bitch feel chilling.
That just means as a bitch will chill.
As a bitch feel chilling i tre problem dan han keep hem ni kom dan dan he get dank in drugs.
Wait, say that slower. I'm gonna try and translate that.
As a bitch feel chilling i tre problem dan han kan henit kom ni dan he get drunk and drugs. You get drunk and drugs. Something like that.
Is it if a bitch wants to chill, that's no problem. Something like about not coming alone, and then having alcohol and drugs.
Standard.
So basically every rapper ever.
Every rap song ever, yeah.
I've got weed, cocaine, yes, drugs, yes.
I should change that. Every rap song, sort of circa 2000s onwards. Because before it was I like rap music, I like it, but it's you have to really dig deep to find like meaningful rap these days. So a lot of it is just people rapping about.
I don't know why, but I've been listening to Roddy Ricch, The Box a lot.
I got no idea who you're talking about.
Pulling at the group with the lot, telling fuck 12, fuck SWAT, busting at the bells at the box.
I mean, it's like you're speaking Japanese to me. No idea.
Japanese.
I think I'm turning Japanese. I really think so. I think I'm turning Japanese. I really think so.
What just happened?
You don't know that song?
I'm loving it. Thank you, Kokoro.
I like that we're in the same mood today. This makes this even more fun. Both in that kind of like light, playful mood. So it's like it works nicely.
I'm just doing the test. I'm doing the test on the sofa.
So what more do you have for me in the questions?
Funnily enough, that was only that's only 3 of about what 10, 12.
Oh damn! Okay, let's keep going.
We've been doing this for like 2 hours now.
No, we have not. Really?
Yeah,
wow.
It's 20 to 3 over here.
Damn. Well, let's keep going. Let's see what you've got. I want to see.
Okay, what made you want to become a content creator, and why and when did you make your first YouTube video?
Ooh. All right, I'll start with the second question. First YouTube video actually was like 2007, 2008. It's like really back in the day. Because when I started doing YouTube properly was like 2013. But before then, you know, everyone had a YouTube account and would just like mess around with it because like you couldn't earn money back then. It was just a weird novelty thing, right? And I would post like skating videos on there and of me at the local park that I went to and stuff. And I just didn't really think anything of it. The only thing I was gutted about is that I never got those clips. I would have liked to have kept those clips because there's loads and loads of videos of me skating.
Yeah, you could have made it like a montage.
Yeah, exactly. I have photos of me skating, so that's something. But yeah, I would have liked to have had that. But yeah, anyway, fast forward to 2013. I saw the situation with what was going online. I thought, oh, that'd be cool. Maybe I'll try that. So I started an account. This was December 2013. And I started doing a mixture of music. And those videos are still there. I stand by the music was still good. Like, you know, it might not have been the best ever, but I still am proud of it. But I had videos on there that were not music, that were like, I suppose listicles or like trying to kind of copy what was everyone else was doing. And it was really cringe. Like, I think I had one like something to do with like bad hairstyles or some shit. And it was so cringe. Like I basically faked my presentation style. I tried to be like what every YouTuber was doing and still does in some cases. And it was cringe and I knew it was, and I deleted it and I kept the music videos, but I didn't really pursue it because back then I didn't have confidence in myself, in my abilities, and I just felt like I had no good ideas. And I thought like, well, if I ever do YouTube, I want to come back to it when I have some good quality ideas. And so I kind of, you know, I would upload a video here and there, but I just didn't really ever take it seriously. And then when I got to university, I started to like get sort of experimental with music more, because I have like these shifts in with music. It's always been like, I'll be in a band for a couple of years, I'll do some solo stuff, then I won't do anything for a while, then I'll come back to it. You know, that's what it's like for me in music. I've always been doing stuff in my life, but music has always been there. And so when I was at uni, I had a point where, you know, I was in a couple of bands, I was experimenting, playing a lot. So I recorded a bunch of videos, and I thought, like, oh, maybe this would be my chance to, like, you know, make a YouTube, like make it proper. And again, same thing happened, but it was different this time because I actually genuinely had no time. The further I got into my degree, the less time I had, and I was just working an insane amount, both in my job and the degree itself. So I just didn't have time for music. And then when I graduated and moved to Estonia, same thing. I just had a lot going on in my life. And when it came to 2019, I suddenly had a lot more time. I started doing acting. This was the beginning of 2019. And I uploaded those videos on there thinking like, oh, and they got a couple of views. They did well. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm going to do YouTube properly now. I'm going to start vlogging. I'm going to start trying different things. So I just started testing the waters and seeing what was what. And I just discovered that I really enjoyed creating content, and I kind of always get a buzz every time particularly now, if I have like an idea for a video or a topic for the podcast or whatever, like I get really excited, I film it and then I prepare it and I just love that feeling. Do you know what I mean? It's exciting for me.
I mean, I think that I did a prank video on my dad, and I think that recently surpassed 100 views.
Oh, congrats.
So I kind of want to make another one,
Mm.
but I don't know what to do, like at all. Because I mean, I ignored my dad for basically the entire ride back from the doctors to home,
Yeah.
but nothing really.
I would say don't ever force it. Like, if you don't have any ready ideas, like nothing's coming to you naturally, then I think it's worth kind of just looking at the community, seeing what's popular, and not necessarily copying, just thinking like, is this something that would work for my channel? If I would replicate this, give
Yeah,
credit, obviously.
104.
Yeah, like give credit to whoever you're taking the idea from, but like ultimately give it a go. Like, for example, I did a video, do you know there was a British YouTuber called Charlie Is So Cool, like many years ago, and he recently, in the last couple of years, he decided to move away from YouTube and focus on his film career. And he did a really good videos back in the day, like vlog videos, and some of them were just like really cool ideas. Like he did one years ago, like 26 things I've learned at the age of 26. So I did the same video, but 27 things I've learned at 27, and I gave homage to him. I said, hey, yeah, thank you for this idea. But then it turned into my own thing, because his was a short video of like 6 or 7 minutes, fun little quips. Mine was like an hour-long thing where I'm talking in depth about all these things I've learned. So it kind of, that was my take on that. It was different. It was my style, because I talk at length, and that's how I kind of do my stuff. And there's a lot of people that say, oh, I don't like watching longer videos, but there's an audience of people that like it. So I always just create what I like, and if I'm happy with it, I'll put it out there. And I always recommend that to anyone who's like struggling for ideas. It's like, well, don't worry, like just try and replicate other things, and like eventually ideas are going to come anyway. Like that's just the nature of it. Like I'll have weeks where I have no ideas and I don't do anything. And then I'll have a week like this week where I have loads and loads of ideas and I'm struggling to write them down. I'm like, shit, I have to do all of this. I have to find time to get through all of these ideas. But yeah. I think it's like everyone's creative process works differently. But I think the worst thing you can ever do is like panic and go, oh shit, I haven't come up with anything. I need to just put some stuff out. Because that's when like shit stuff is created. Because it's like you're just panicking. You're not focusing on the content and the quality. You're focusing on like, I need to get something out there. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's good as well. Like if you're pushed to produce something as well, sometimes you can discover something that's left field that you never thought you would do. And then, that's something different, like for me, for example, I kind of discovered that with urbexing. I never thought I would do urbex. I always thought abandoned buildings were cool, but the concept of exploring them and then filming that experience was new to me. And then I saw YouTubers doing it and I was like, oh, cool. Maybe I'll do that if I ever get the opportunity. And then the opportunity came when I was in Estonia. And I wasn't actually actively looking to do that. I just happened to know a guy who does it. And I was like, well, fuck it. I'll film this and put it on my YouTube then. So sometimes these things, like, they don't happen necessarily because you've like planned them out. They just happen because of circumstances in life. And obviously, like, you can appreciate this being a content creator. Like, when you're looking at your own life, you're always thinking like, well, what's interesting? What would my audience want to know about? And sometimes you've just got to take a risk, put something out there, see what people think. Other times you kind of just know what to put out. You just have a feeling. So I don't know, like for me, it's taken some time. I think when I first started YouTube, it's like everyone else. I kind of sat there thinking like, this is all trash. This is cringe. This is terrible. Whereas now, like, I have zero fear in front of the camera. I'll sit and talk forever and I'll know what I'm going to say. I'll know if I'm talking too long and going on a tangent. I know when to bring it back. That's something I had to learn recently actually as well, is, if I'm going off topic, and it's particularly important if I'm doing an interview or something like this, you have to bring it back to the point, and you can't go too far off base, because that leads to the thing where you forget things, or like you leave things unanswered or whatever. So I try to...
Maybe we need to make this a part 2, because I have a lot of questions, and obviously when we get talking, for example, it's basically been 2 hours right now,
Damn.
I think maybe even a bit longer, and we're not even past the first goddamn section. So
I think that's my fault.
oh no, that was the end of the last section. So maybe we need to do this again with the other two sections, three sections, because I feel like we could turn like our podcasts, like where we're together, into a small mini series. Like part one of the questions, part two of the questions, part three of the questions.
I'll say this. I was thinking about this before we headed into this podcast. Like, because I was looking at hashtags, right? I love hashtags when it's like, ask this, ask that. And I thought it would be cool to start up a thing where it's like, ask Christian. And like, that could be, as you said, like it's still part of the podcast series, but it's an episode, Ask Christian with Christian.
a Dutch Dills special.
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, that's kind of the idea I have as the working title for this episode, because obviously it's not a standard one where I'm interviewing you and we're not going. We have discussed like we normally do, but it's been a lot about me, obviously, and we knew that going in. It wasn't like it just turns into this. But as a concept, I think if people like it, if we put it out and people like it, we'll do more. If people aren't interested, we won't do more. It's simple as that.
So just to put this into perspective, this is all the questions. All right, this is a full A4. We're up to here.
Damn.
We're up to there.
That just makes me feel so bad. I feel like I talk too much.
No. It's just us. We click. So if you want to see more of this, or if you want to see me ask more of the questions, just drop a like and let us know that you want to see it. Because
let's start a hashtag with it, because I think that's important. So what should we call the
hashtag? #AskChristian.
Okay, cool. So that'll be what we post after this when this is released, and for all future episodes where we do an Ask Christian, it'll be me and Dutch, and we'll have the questions, and hopefully we'll actually get stuff sent in, and you can ask me the questions still.
I think I am the person who's returned the most. I think this is my third time.
You're tied. So you're tied with my friend Calamity Hatcher, 3 apiece. Is there someone else who's had 3 times? Stillsy's been on twice.
However, this is the Dutch Dills special, so we have an actual segment. So there's there's the podcast, and then there's the podcast specials where I ask Christian. I am the Ask Christian host. So
I dig that. I dig that.
I'm co-host of this here podcast.
You're jumping ahead, man. You're getting very confident there.
No. You didn't present this one. I did.
You did. Thank you so much, by the way, for that. I really appreciate it.
No, it's fine. I'm always happy to appear on the CPR.
CPR.
CPR. I'm dying. CRP.
CRP.
I wrote something on my.
Stop trying to make CRP a thing. Stop trying to. CRP is not going to be a thing. Stop trying to make it a thing.
No. I wrote something on a little blackboard that we haven't. How do I? Should I go and take a photo of it and then come back? No,
that's fine. You can send it to us after.
I don't know how to do this. It's because my original plan was to sit at the dining table in there.
Okay.
But we had a messy dinner last night, so
yeah.
So I'm sort of steering clear of the kitchen.
Okay, fair enough.
And I wrote something on the blackboard. I think it was. Oh my god! Do you mind if I go and have a quick look?
Go on then. I gotta keep this occupied. Right. So.
Yeah. All right.
Oh wow, that was quick. Okay. Yeah. I was expecting.
It says welcome to the Christian Reeve podcast number 30, and then I've underlined 30 with an exclamation mark, and that was supposed to be behind me.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Now you have the naughty shelf, so called, because it's very dangerous to walk into or hit your head off. Yeah,
it does look quite dangerous actually, particularly that mirror with the jagged edges. That looks like if it would fall at a particular angle, it would just slice you the fuck up.
No, I remember when the ow.
Ooh, careful. Careful.
Ouch. I remember when the sofa was a bit more back, which is why we moved it forward.
Yeah.
I went to sit back and I just smashed my head off the corner of the. That's a glass shelf.
Oh.
Yeah, I had to go to bed. I
Oh.
KO'd myself. You should have heard the bang. It was like a.
Oh, wow.
But it went bong. Oh, it wasn't fun. And I have another injury. I was messing about with the dog, and she headbutted me in the lip. And I can feel the cut.
Mm.
What's really dangerous is the fact there's a glass of orange juice on the table. Drinking that would be pretty much suicide. So.
Why's that? Are you allergic?
No, orange juice on a cut.
Oh,
Flanks.
right. Yeah, of course.
That would be mouth suicide, rather. Mouth suicide.
All right, man. Well, listen, I want to say a big, massive, massive thank you to Dutch Dills for appearing on the podcast, for interviewing me and making this extra special Ask Christian episode.
Number 30.
Number 30, yeah.
30 episodes.
Really quickly, I just want to reflect on that. I was not even expecting this to last, if I'm honest. I thought I would get bored or, I wouldn't make it work. It would be rubbish, whatever. But it seems to be that the podcast is being received really well. And I've had a lot of interesting guests on the show. By the way, I'm always looking for new guests. So wherever you're listening to this, if you know someone that would like to appear on the podcast or you would like to appear yourself, just get in touch with me. I would love to have you on the show. And I've had, I think the biggest thing for me has been learning how to interview people and, just kind of tweaking things here and there. So as I spoke to you before, Dutch, about, being able to make sure that the conversation is consistent and flows and is logical, like little things like that, I think you have to learn by just doing podcasting, and it just takes practice. And I always say that the show is growing and changing and developing, and that's true. And it will continue to change in the future. I have no doubt of it. But I think if you do look at the past 30 episodes, you'll see that, there is development. There is a kind of a style, maybe, I suppose. But it kind of takes time. And, I think the key is like everyone wanting to be there and having a good time. And I think we definitely have had a good time throughout all 30 episodes. And, I'm always looking at ways I can change it and develop it for the future. And like I said, I'm always open to ideas and topics and guests and everything. I'm very open. So if you do have suggestions, if you do enjoy the show, let me know. I would love to know what you think.
And if you want a special segment,
I think we'll call this
Dutch Dills podcast.
We'll call this ask #AskChristian with Dutch Dills. I think that's a logical title.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, a big thank you to yourself for appearing again. A big thank you to everyone listening to the podcast, wherever you subscribe to the podcast. We're always growing and going onto new platforms. So if I'm not already on a platform that you use, I probably will be soon. But yeah, I hope you're enjoying the show as much as I am making it. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, peace out, one love. See you in the next one. Ciao.